Hey, this is Coach Brooks,
Coach James.
the Game Changers. Listen, we're talking about nutrition, all right? It's a big topic. I don't want to go into huge detail. This is not really a huge forte for me per se. James is a little more knowledgeable in this area. But one of the things that I see athletes of today misunderstand and parents is that they read a lot of stuff about, well, my kid needs X. Typically it's protein, right? So they run to the first source is protein drinks, all right? Why protein drinks can be a great supplement, and that's the key word there, supplement. It should not be your main source. You should be able to get your protein from other sources, okay? Such as number one protein source is eggs, all right? Actually, if I was stranded on an island and I had no other food, or I had the choice between one food group that I could have, it would be eggs, all right? They're probably the most complete source of food that you can get, okay? With the cholesterol, the protein, all the stuff there, that is probably your best one. So I highly recommend that kids get up. Okay, parents, this is not really technically on you. The kids need to actually learn how to do this themselves and make their eggs. All right, they should have anywhere between 3 to 5 eggs every day. I understand the egg prices are outrageous right now, but you need to start eating eggs. Okay, you have then other sources of protein that you can get: chicken, steak, meat. All those things should be used first before you run to the protein drinks. Like I said, protein drinks should be a supplement. Why? Most protein drinks contain heavy metals. If you don't know anything about heavy metals, you can start looking this stuff up. This is causing a lot more issues than what people want to admit, okay, and what your doctor will ever admit, or what most nutritionists and a lot of other people ever admit. But heavy metals are very horrible to the body. Okay, the body does not like them, has a hard time detoxing them. So where is it being stored? It's being technically stored a lot of times in our heads, okay, in our brains, and that is causing a lot of trauma to the brain. And I think that's why you see a lot of people who now are older, have dementia, a lot of other things. But I also think it goes into mental health. We talked about that in one of our last ones, that stuff going on. So you have to be careful and cognizant of what you're taking in. Just because you think it looks good or it sounds good doesn't mean it is good. You have to make sure you're doing all your research on it. And that's why I say go as nutritious as possible. Organic, pasture raised eggs, okay? Not cage free or nothing like that. Pasture raised, organic. Meat that's grass fed and grass finished. No hormones pumped in, no vaccines, none of that crap pumped into these things. These are things. Are you going to pay a little bit more? Yes, but your health is worth it. So that's the thing you got to go after. So nutrition wise, that's always my big recommendation. You know, Coach James here can drive into a little bit better some of the other stuff here, you know, what ratio you should get for protein and stuff. But look for that kind of stuff. Natural stuff is always going to be better than your processed or your unnatural or the supplement part. Okay, supplements are good only when you need to supplement a little bit extra. Okay.
So I actually wanted to go back to one thing that we always talk about in the mornings here with our morning group on the topic of eggs. Because typically when you hear with eggs, one of the main things that you're getting with eggs is cholesterol. And I know a lot of parents will come back to you and say, well, cholesterol is bad for me though. So what do you always?
No, cholesterol is not bad. It's a lie. It's a fallacy. I'm tired of hearing it. The brain is made up of myelin. Most of the brain is made up of myelin. Myelin is 100% made up of cholesterol. So think about that. If I eat the eggs that I'm supposed to eat, okay, it's going to also give me brain health. That's huge. So the fallacy out there is that cholesterol is bad for it. Is not. Now, if you have a score like maybe 600, 500, something like that, then there's something wrong. You're not doing something properly. There's other reasons why it's so high. But honestly, go back 30, 40, 50 years before we had all these problems with cholesterol. People had 300, readings of 300 of cholesterol, and they had no issue, okay? So that's not the issue. The cholesterol is not the issue. So don't think, well, if they eat the eggs, you're gonna have higher cholesterol. That's not the problem, okay? There's other things that are going on that you're gonna have issues way before the cholesterol part, because cholesterol is actually very, very beneficial for us.
Awesome. So the main points that I always, for our athletes, in regards to nutrition, that I always try and remind them and tell them is, like Coach had mentioned with the protein and the meat and things like that, is eating a whole food. So whether that's just not getting frozen food, so whether you're going to your farmer's market, getting your vegetables, fruits, things like that, and making sure, like Coach had mentioned, that they're organic and they're not being sprayed with different pesticides and things like that. And just getting things that are fresh. So whether that's like you mentioned, the proteins, chicken, beef, and those are going to be your best sources, and not going out and getting frozen food, things that you aren't necessarily those whole foods. They might say, hey, they have this grams of protein in it. Hey, I'm meeting my protein that I'm supposed to get, but is it maybe the best protein? Probably not. I know I've changed that a lot in my diet, where I'm eating a lot more whole foods, and I'm not trying to go out as much, and it might taste better, but I know it's not going to be better for me in the long run. And I know when if I do go out and I do binge on whatever I may go out and eat, I typically the next day or two, I'll know that I did do that to my body, and I'll notice the difference, whether it's in my workout or it's just how I'm feeling throughout the day, whether I'm more tired or I'm just not fully there mentally. I can feel it when I make that change in my food and my diet. I know the biggest thing if you're going off of their daily recommendations, and again, these are just recommendations. It's different for every person. It's different for each person and their activity level. So if you're more active, those daily recommendations that are for the average human. So when they come out with these recommendations, it's for the average human. And the typical lifestyle of someone that's working a 9 to 5, they're maybe not active in their everyday life. I believe, I always tell people it's between 1 to 2 grams per pound of body weight for your protein. I believe for carbs, it's 6 to 8 grams for every pound. And I forget what it is for fats. I believe it's 2 to 4 grams. But the biggest markers that you want to hit are those grams and proteins, or grams of protein and carbs. If you're more active, then you're going to want to look to get more in those aspects, especially looking at protein and going into different sports. And if you're going into season, added things, more asking either a coach, whether it's myself, Coach Bricks, or you are looking for a specific nutritionist that is well versed in those kind of things, and especially more on that kind of holistic, organic side of nutrition as well.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that a lot of people say, well, my doctor recommends it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've spoken to a couple doctors, and the majority of their time studying over the 8-year period that they were becoming a doctor, 95 to 98% was based on pharmacy, what the pharmacy says. They don't get into nutrition much. The one doctor I spoke with is a good buddy of mine. He said, Dave, if I had 6 days of all schooling on nutrition, that would have been a lot. So that's not the person you go to look for. You need to go deeper. You need to find a nutritionist. You need to find somebody who's more intelligent, deeper in that. I don't usually do a lot of nutrition. I'll be honest with you. My wife is much more better versed, and I usually recommend almost all my athletes to go to her. She's much more versed. So if you're looking for that stuff, I can highly recommend you go to her, and she'll be able to help you out. But you want somebody that understands the human body. Some people are great nutrition people, understand it, but they're for weight loss. If you're looking to lose weight, great. If you're not, if you're looking to gain it as an athlete, should be, many athletes, then you need to find somebody else, okay? You need to take personal responsibility in this. And we're gonna do another segment on what athletes should eat between games when it comes a lot of times to tournaments and practices and stuff like that. Because I get tons of athletes coming and ask me all these kind of questions. And some of the stuff they tell me they eat, I wouldn't even give to my dog, okay? So you guys, we need to get back to what we need to eat right. But I always say it's very basic and very simple if we think back. Go back 50, 60, 70 years. And if you haven't, go read a book, okay? It will tell you what you should eat, how we used to eat before all these massive grocery stores popped up and all these massive aisles of everything you can get popped into existence. Go back and ask your grandparents how they ate. And I guarantee it was based on every night they sat down and somebody cooked something, from scratch or whatever. That's how you need to get back to eating. You get back to that lifestyle, I'm telling you, you will be much healthier and you'll have much better energy levels. Instead of popping all these bangs and protein drinks, or not protein drinks, but energy drinks, you don't need all that stuff. Kids should, I don't know why a kid has that in the first place, because they shouldn't need it at all. So if you're having it, there's a problem, and I can get into that in another topic as well. All right? But nutrition is vitally a key to your success. I can give you all the greatest exercises. Coach James and I can give you the greatest exercise. And guess what? You might not add an ounce of weight or an ounce of strength because you're not nutritioning and fueling your body. It's like me telling a car, hey, I made this beautiful Lamborghini, James. Look how beautiful this is. Awesome. I want you to put some water in it. it's not going to run very far. Okay, you need that high octane level of fuel to get it to where it needs to go, and that's what you have to imagine your body being. High octane, you need to fuel correctly. So Coach James is right, the protein levels, all that kind of stuff, that's what we need to get to, okay? Reach out to us with questions, guys. I hate to see people not get the answers they're looking for. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna have all the answers and Coach James might have them, but we'll guide you in the right direction, all right, of where you need to go. But take this very, very seriously. It's a very, very important topic, as well as a lot of the other topics we're gonna go over. But send in messages to us, what topics you wanna hear, how we can help you out, okay? This is Coach Dave.
Coach James.
Game Changers.